Hello, Sunshine Warriors. I am so excited today to have Kyleen Aiello. Did I get it right? Yes. And Kyleen, when I first heard about her story, she is just somebody that has persevered through life, through death, through illness. And Shay, our creative director, actually knows Kyleen. Your boys are the same age. And she's just like, Kelly, this girl is just light through all the challenges that she's had. She's light, and she truly is a sunshine warrior.
My son and Kyleen's son are friends. I've had the pleasure of knowing her for many years. And I can just tell you, whether it's being a mom or a small business owner or fighting for her life, Kyleen really does it all with such grace and a smile on her face. We recently went to Slick City for her son's 9th birthday party. Some of those slides were pretty scary, but Kyleen, she wanted to go on all of them. And I said to her, "Girl, you are so brave." And she replied, "When you have stared death in the face and conquered it, you aren't afraid of anything."
Woo! That was awesome. That was exhilarating.
Today, you're going to get to see a little bit of that sunshine coming up next.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be able to come and talk with you guys.
I know that you have 5 children, and 2 of them are special needs, and 1 is in heaven. And you found out some interesting information about your health that really kind of impacted your daughter that you lost, you think. So just kind of unpack the story for us. Let's just start there.
Yeah. Overall, I've had 10 pregnancies. I've given birth to 4 living kids. I've had multiple miscarriages. I had a daughter that we lost at birth at 40 weeks, 3 days. Had really no idea. We had originally assumed it was a cord incident, and we kind of just went with that as our explanation. When we got pregnant with our rainbow daughter, who's our youngest now, Madison, who's 2, we had gone through extensive testing and found out that I actually carry an autoimmune disorder called lupus. And lupus is like most autoimmune disorders, it attacks your body and attacks your system. And a lot of moms out there that have had lupus tend to have a higher risk of miscarriage and stillbirth because the lupus then attacks all your healthy cells, including your baby in utero. Everly was our daughter that we lost. We then found out that more than likely our losing her was due to my lupus and my own body attacking itself, which then made everything else, all of our kids that are here, a miracle that they're here and that they're alive and that we didn't lose them as well. We do have 2 that are on the autism spectrum. They are profoundly autistic. They will need care for the entirety of their lives. And in my mom heart, I don't have any explanation for autism. There's still so much unknown about where autism comes from and all the factors that can go into it. But I, in my mom heart, know and can feel that probably my lupus, being undiagnosed and not having the medical care for the lupus while I was pregnant with them, contributed to their development in utero. It's definitely been a journey trying to figure out my health and its part in my motherhood journey as well.
Yeah. And you had no symptoms.
No.
So you had no awareness at all.
The funny thing is that from finding out I had lupus, it's a really like almost TMI, apologies to get into that. But one of the symptoms of lupus I had when I was a child where it's extra protein in your urine. It's a really random symptom. When I was about 10 years old, they had found extra protein in my urine. So my mom and I had to do like a 24-hour analysis where I had to, capture it all and take it in, and they had to test it. My mom can attest to this, like we're, catching it and keeping it in a cooler in the bathroom until we can turn it in. And they didn't really, they're like, yeah, it's high in protein, but throughout the day, it doesn't really concern us because it's like they weren't too concerned about it when I was younger. And this was when I was like 10, 11 years old. So it's almost as if like maybe it wasn't as known about right then, or because that was my only sign that they didn't care or didn't think to dive in further. But if that was a symptom I had when I was 10, how long have I been living with lupus without it being diagnosed? How long has it been affecting my symptoms and my life? And I joke now at this point in life, and I'm like, do I know how it feels to be healthy? because it's like I've had all of this stuff going on for so many years that I'm like, I don't know if I actually know what it means to be in a healthy body.
So once you discovered that you had lupus when you had your last child, was that when it was? Because you went through testing? Okay. So after Everly and before Madison, did you then, are you being treated for it, or has anything changed other than now you know you have it?
Not really. I get regular blood work done. I also get regular blood work done on top of it because I'm a breast cancer survivor as well. So they kind of keep track of everything all at once. I don't have any markers for breast cancer. All of my genetics came back negative. So we also think that in part my autoimmune disorder was a contributing factor to getting the breast cancer that I did. Again, we'll never really have 100% answers. I get blood work done. I don't have to take any medications right now. It's not severe enough. It could become severe enough. You know, there's people that have lupus that end up having like kidney failure and end up having to have kidney transplants and stuff like that. Because again, the protein in the urine, your kidneys are not processing all of those toxins out properly when your kidneys start to fail. So that is a common side effect with lupus. I am very lucky that I haven't had any of those issues yet. I don't have kidney stone issues. So I'm very blessed that I haven't had those complications yet, but I do get regular blood draws and stuff like that to keep track of it all.
So you have 5 children, ages 2 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about the breast cancer over the last, let's call it 10 years. At what point did that come into this whole journey?
Ironically enough, my son, who's now 6, he's one of my ones who's autistic. We were roughhousing. I was pregnant with my daughter, Madison, at the time, and he had kicked my left breast. And it had started bleeding later on that night. I ultimately thought it was, okay, he kicked me in the boob. It's bleeding. Totally thought nothing of it. A couple weeks later, I noticed there was a little nodule. I was about 7 months pregnant with Madison at this point in time. Went in to the doctor for just regular checkup. I let her know, okay, there's a tiny little nodule. Will you feel around? Like, just keep an eye on it. I don't know if it's a milk duct or anything like that going on. She feels it. She goes, okay. She's like, it's probably nothing, but I'm going to go ahead and refer you for a mammogram, just out of precaution. And I appreciated her taking that extra step. Got the referral, set it up for December 19th of 2022. Then scheduled an induction with my daughter, Madison. And she was born on December 19th, 2022. So there and behold, I was not going to make my mammogram. So I had to go and cancel that. Yeah. This is my life. This is my life. It's fine. So she was born on the day that I was supposed to get my mammogram. So I had to cancel that. And then I kind of fluffed it up. I was like, it's not cancer. It's fine. It's just a milk duct. I've had clogged milk ducts before. I've breastfed 3 other babies. It's fine. So I'm over here trying to pump and nurse and go through normal newborn stages. Finally got to about 2 months in, and the lump was growing and growing. And I'm like, no, I got to really figure out what this is. So I found my referral paperwork, had to wean her off, had to dry up my breasts so that way we could get a clear image of what's going on, see if the mass went away after breastfeeding was done, which was really sad. She's my last baby, and I wanted to do a big breastfeeding journey. And by the time I finally found my referral, was dried up enough, could make the appointment, it was now at the end of June of 2023.
Oh my.
Before I could get in. Went in for my mammogram. Even my mammogram nurse, she's just like, why did it take you so long to come in? And I'm like, I'm sorry, life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's all it came down to. So yeah, after I gave birth to her is when we went in and did a biopsy and mammogram and all that good stuff that comes with it. And then July 31st, actually, I'm coming up on 2 years of my cancerversary. July 31st is when I got the call that I was diagnosed stage 4. But I got demoted because they couldn't confirm if the spot on my liver was cancerous or not. It was so microscopic that they couldn't confirm or deny. So they bumped me down to stage 3B when originally I was stage 4.
So you went through, was it surgery or radiation or chemo or all of the above or none of the above? How did it all work?
So I went through chemotherapy. I went through 6 cycles of chemotherapy. I had what's called HER2 positive breast cancer, which is one of the more common cases of breast cancer. It's also luckily one of the most treatable because it's one of the most funded, thanks to Susan B. G. Komen and all that stuff. It's also one of the most aggressive. Back in the 90s when HER2 positive breast cancer was really on the rise, it was the one that was killing a lot of women because it was so aggressive and it wasn't being caught until later on. Did 6 cycles of chemotherapy, had my double mastectomy in February of 2024. I opted for a double just as a precautionary. I didn't want to have to go back in and worry about it going to the other side. It was only on my left side and then in my lymph nodes. So I was trying to be proactive. I'm like, I'm 31 years old. I've got 4 kids that are relying on me. So I just kind of was like, we're going to go all in. I did decline radiation. My chemotherapy was fully responsive, or at least my cancer was fully responsive to my chemotherapy. So when they went in and did the CT scan and they tested my lymph nodes during my DMX, my double mastectomy, they found that like the cancer was out, the chemo did its job. So I opted against radiation for that. 2, I also have heart issues. So I had to go in and have an ablation for what's called SVT. It's supraventricular tachycardia. It means that your heart rate elevates randomly without you having to do anything. So there were points that my heart rate would get up to like 200 without, I could be sitting on the couch and it would raise.
Interesting.
So I had to go in for a procedure to get that fixed as well. But with the fact that the cancer was on the left side, radiation would have been on the left side. So then it would have been on top of my heart. So I already have heart problems. So I didn't want to add the radiation on top of it.
Yeah.
And then with just the knowing that the chemo did what it's supposed to do, I personally made the personal decision to opt against radiation. I did have to continue through and do 11 more cycles of what's called immunotherapy, which is kind of like chemotherapy, but it doesn't make you as sick. It basically, what immunotherapy does is it goes in and it basically teaches your cells how to recognize the cancer cells to be able to fight against it itself, in hopes that it can train your body to not let the cancer come back. So it's just one of the things that they found that they can do to help combat it.
So you're a mother, a wife, a cancer survivor. You've got little kids in your household as you're trying to fight for your life, go through the double mastectomy, all of that. I mean, how does one manage the emotion? Like, how did you get through that? Was there something that you did? Was it prayer? Was it meditation? Where were you from a mindset standpoint? Because I got to think, I mean, that's got to take some intentionality to really just plow through it and persevere through it.
You know, I was raised in the Christian faith, and I held on to understanding God's plan and that he's going to see through to everything working out the way it needs to. But I was also raised by very, very strong women. I come from a very strong family and very strong women, and we've never been ones to back down and give up. And so a lot of how I was raised by these women, by my mom and my grandma, and really helped kind of shape me into the woman I am today, that then helped me turn into the mother that I am today. And I think ultimately the aspect of being a mom is what pulled me through it the most, is that I had those 4 little ones that I need to be around for. I've always, even when I was having my pregnancy scares or we were dealing with that, and I always made it very clear to my husband that if it came down to me or my kids, choose the kids. 100%. I've lived my life. It's their time. But this was now a point that it was like, it wasn't me or the kids. It was me for the kids, that they needed mom to still be here. So it was, you know, even during chemo, it was getting up and getting them ready for school and taking them to school and driving them home. And I still had to show up and be mom, because if I didn't, not that my husband wasn't there or my family wasn't there, but if I didn't show up to be mom, nobody else was going to. I was still there. I still needed to be there for them. While I was going through my cancer treatments, it's like, you know that death is literally right there on the edge, that it could go one of 2 ways. You could either fight and win, or you could fight and lose. There's no middle ground. Having a daughter in heaven as well, I'm just like, I'm literally stuck in between. Okay, I have my 4 children at home that are living, and then I have my one that's waiting for me up in heaven. And I literally am yet again having to choose between my children. Do I go and join her, or do I fight for the ones that are here? And I know that's a hard concept probably for people to understand unless they've been in that. How can you compare that? You know, why would you want to go to your daughter in heaven while you have 4 here on earth? But when you're put in that middle position, that's where my brain went to. But I had always told myself when we lost Everly that we would live our lives double for her. Again, getting that diagnosis, it was on top of it. It was like I was living for them, but I also was like, I still have to live for her. It's not my time to meet her yet. I still have to live my life double for her.
So purpose was a big part of your journey to get through the illness. What inspires you, or who?
Honestly, my kids. And I know that's probably such a cookie cutter answer, but I see everything that my children have been through. My oldest, Jackson, he's 9, and he's been through more things than a 9-year-old should have to. He's had to bury his sister. He's had to see his mom fight for his life, and he still wakes up every day and is this beaming ball of light. Anybody who meets him just understands how amazing of a boy this is.
Yeah.
We've always joked he has a heart of gold because he cares about everyone deeply. Like, if we're getting ready for bed, he'll come and give us a hug, and then he'll brush his teeth, and then he'll come back and give us another hug again because it wasn't enough before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
And he's 9. I don't have to ask for my hugs still, but we're getting to that age that it's, moms are supposed to be gross and don't kiss me and stuff like that. But like, he crawl up on my lap and we'll cuddle and watch a movie at 9 years old. And to see how big of a heart and how selfless he is as a person, despite everything that he's gone through and has experienced. Seeing my 2 kids with autism that are constantly beating all odds, that are I get updates like, goal-wise, Kalaya, when she first started ABA to now, she's surpassed almost 900 goals that they've set for her. And every day they're having to add 10 to 20 new goals at her therapy and they always joke, they're like, we can't keep up with her. We give her something and she learns it and she masters it in a day. And then I got to find something else for her to do. So despite her challenges, she's able to keep going. And then Peyton as well, he struggled even more, and now he's potty trained and he's very independent, and he's another one of my little love bugs. He's such an empath with everybody, and he can't verbalize anything, but he can show you that he understands how you feel.
Yeah.
And if he sees that you're upset, he's just like, no, he comes over, he gives you big squeezes and cuddles, and he doesn't have to say a single word to be able to be that person for you, to comfort you.
Yeah.
And then seeing my daughter, Madison, we see all of her siblings in her, which is so funny because, like, biologically, she has a little bit of all of them in her. It's just biologically how it works. So I can see little bits of all of her siblings kind of coming through in her little quirks. And then occasionally I'll see a little bit that's her, and then I'll see a little bit of her. I'm like, that's your sister Everly. I'm like, that's what I think that's a characteristic that your sister would have had if she was here. And so we get to re-experience all of our kids again in one little body. And she is our little sunshine. She came in and healed a lot of the pain that we were going through as a family. And to know her is just to know the grace of God, because she is literally the most amazing little gift that he could have sent us.
That's beautiful. So what advice would you give to our community? And our community is made up of just humans that are just going through the human journey together. And whether that is, bringing sunshine or hope, or whether it's you're currently in a crisis and you're just getting through it, and how are you getting through it? Or maybe you've gone through it. This is just a community where we're just showing up and bringing light and sharing stories of real life, because there's somebody that's watching this that you're inspiring, that your journey is impacting. And so that's really the whole goal here. But what advice would you give based on your journey? You've had a lot going on, and you're a young gal. I mean, so the last 10 years of your life, essentially. What advice do you have?
Just exactly what you just said, is understanding that your journey has the opportunity to not only inspire, but also support others, that your story has a purpose. And well, that purpose might not be for you, it might be for somebody else that you come on in life later on. That, I've come across other moms in my stillbirth community, and some of them like make YouTube videos, and they've, made their stories about their daughters that they've lost, and other moms that come on and they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing your story. I had low fetal movement. I went in and they were able to save my daughter, all because you shared your story.
Yeah.
And then, like, having breast cancer, I've met other women that are like, I'm having these symptoms, and and they went in and they got checked out earlier than I did.
Right.
And they found that it was stage 1 or stage 0. So they were able to have a lumpectomy, and they were good to go. They didn't have to go through chemo. They didn't have to, because it was so early on. But by my sharing my story, I was able to then save them or help them along in some way. And knowing that your story has a purpose, there's a reason for you to be able to share your story. It might not be today, it might be tomorrow, but at some point, your story will have a purpose in someone's life.
Absolutely. Gosh, I believe that so much. And again, that's why we do this, right? So what's next for you?
Hopefully a helpful life.
Are you getting ready to teach?
Yes, I am. So I will be taking a 4th grade classroom come in a couple of weeks. So I originally went to school for it and took some time off to be a mom and own my own business. And now it's time to kind of go back to that passion. My kids are a little bit older and we're able to do that at our stage in life right now. So I'll be back in a classroom. So it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking, but it's a good nervous.
So between sunshine and warrior, how much of each are you?
I think that depends on who you ask. And I think it depends on the day. I definitely think because of everything I've been through, I think I'm definitely more warrior than sunshine. But I think by being that warrior, I allow some sunshine for other people.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. It's almost that mentality that I've carried the burden so others don't have to type mentality, or at least the hope is, Luckily, because I don't have any genetic markers for my breast cancer, my daughters technically won't have any genetic markers for that. But I joke with him. I was like, well, I've gone through cancer, so they don't have to, So I'm like, if it means that I had to go through the rough patch, that way my kids or anybody else doesn't have to, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I was strong enough to fight through it. So if it means that I fight and they can live their healthy life, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It sounds like your kids have your sunshine. And
Probably.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like
They're all my goodness. They took it all from me.
Well, what else? What else is on your mind? Give me some words of wisdom here. Give us words of wisdom.
I don't know that I've ever been good at words of wisdom, as I stumble over my words a lot.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah. No, you don't. You got a lot of depth in you. You really do. And I know that this was kind of a crazy idea for you to come and sit and talk with me, but I just know there's so much ahead of you. So I would just say, keep leaning into you, your life, your faith, communities that you're serving, the little kids in 4th grade that you're going to be taking on a journey. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing. So if you have questions or thoughts, don't hesitate to reach out to us or just share, comment, invite people to the community. We are open to talking with people that have had life happen or have accomplish things. It doesn't always have to be challenges with where we go through life. The older we are, the more challenges we have, but sometimes it's just a challenge of accomplishment, or it's, doing something that somebody said you could never do, or maybe it is, what you've gone through, which is illness and unfortunately death and beautiful light along the way. Thank you, Kyleen.
Yeah, thank you.